I think we're live. Yay! I think this is working. So, and the oven just said hello because I'm preheating the oven to. It says on the oven 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's how fast we're going on this. So we've already got some people in here. This is fantastic. Thanks everyone for popping in. So how this will work, we'll just say let's make banana bread. Obviously, we're here to watch me fumble through my. This is technically Woolie's recipe. My wife's. We kind of perfected it back and forth, but I'm going to give her the credit for it because she's the one that put the true love and sweat into it. What happens in a lot of our recipes is I'll get it really good, and then Emily will just like keep on tweaking it a little bit, and she adds that little extra magic. She's doing that right now with a beet brownie recipe that she's become obsessed with. So stay tuned. We got that from, I think, the Plant-Based Delicious cookbook that we just did a review of that went up on the weekend, if you haven't seen it yet. Spoiler alert, we love that brownie. So Emily is continually tweaking it because she liked it but didn't love it just yet. So many people to say hello. Hello, Joe Ellen from New Jersey. Oh, look at that cute little face. Them cheeks. Oh my. From Berlin? Where else are people watching from Berlin? Vancouver, BC. Wow, I'm in Toronto, for those that don't know. So what we'll do, I'll just throw this up here. Feel free to throw any questions down into the chat, and as we're going through, I'll try to bop over and get to them. I'm able to stay on until about just before 3 o'clock. So unfortunately, this banana bread bakes for like 50, 60 minutes. So I'm not going to be able to show you the final bread, but it's on my website, and I have another video on here of what it looks like. It looks awesome. But we'll show you how to make it. And so while I'm making it, I'll talk you through some of the swaps we do to make it whole food plant-based, and also just any other swaps you can do if you want to change anything up. And then it won't take that long to actually throw it together. And then while it's baking, I can just jump in and we can have more of a dialogue, and I can catch up on any of the questions I've missed so far. But before we get really cranking, let me just see if anyone's got anything so far. PB with J family, yeah, you might get an Annie sighting because she doesn't start school yet until tomorrow. So she might pop in. She's got a friend coming over, and they're going to hang out in our back building. So you might get a rare Annie sighting today. Otherwise, everyone else is back at school here in Canada. I know some of you are watching from the States, and school starts there in August, which blows my mind. As a Canadian, we start after Labor Day. So there we go. In Pennsylvania. Hi, Denise from Pennsylvania. And hi, Tappy. Oh, and that's Rufus. Rufus is letting us know that Annie is coming up somewhere. Oh, I hear her whispering in the house. Do you want to say hi, Annie? She might pop in through. Hi, Tappy. Really loud. Here comes Annie. It's her last day of summer.
Hello.
We're making banana bread. Someone actually just found our old video of Annie and I making banana bread when you were maybe 6. So that's on the channel too. If you want to see a very, very young Annie, you can check out that video.
Someone's from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
Denise.
Denise. You have an aunt with that same name.
It doesn't look like Denise.
Okay, anyway.
It looks like Dennis.
I gotta bake. Go have fun. It is hot out here today in Toronto. Okay. So I'll throw this back up for anyone that's joining a little bit later. Okay, so to start off, my wife is gluten-free. So we make pretty much everything here gluten-free. You don't have to make this banana bread gluten-free if you don't want to. You could just use whole wheat flour. You could also just use white flour if you want to, but it's not going to have all those lovely nutrients and things that we like to talk about here on the channel. So we'll start off with the first thing we got to do is make a flax egg. So if you're not used to eating whole food plant-based or plant-based at all, the trick to baking is you've just got to keep in mind the science of it all, right? So some of those animal products are just doing things that when you swap out, you need to counteract that somehow. So for example, we're not going to use eggs, but we need some kind of a binding agent. So for that, what we're going to use is flax. If you don't have flax, there's a couple other things you could use. You could use chia seeds and make a chia egg. You could also use silken tofu, might work. I haven't tried that, but I've done that in some other things. So to make a flax egg, it's as simple as doing 2 tablespoons of flax meal. It's got to be ground up. It can't just be the flax seeds. With, for each egg you're replacing, it's 1 tablespoon of ground flax and 2 tablespoons of water. So I'm doubling it up because I need technically 2 eggs for this recipe. So I already put 1/4 cup of water in here, which is 4 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna dump those in there and just give it a stir with the back of this because I'm lazy and it's just my family eating it. So if it's, it's going to be what it is. So we're going to let this sit aside. It's going to take a minute, about 5 minutes to kind of gel up. So by the time we're ready for it, it'd be good to go. It's just sloshy and weird. Let me see if I can angle down and you can see it. It's kind of sloshy and weird here. Go on through, girls. So that's going to firm up. I'll show you that in a second. So let's get our dry stuff going here. Don't mind me as I float back. Yeah.
Me and Lucy watched the New York video and the C&E video, and we saw you at your friend's wedding where it looks like you were marrying.
And he's making fun of. So we posted our C&E video, and I cut to a photo of me and my friend TJ from high school. And my wife said when she saw it, she said, "It looks like you guys are a couple." I was in the wedding party of my friend's TJ's wedding. He got married a couple years back, and I got excited. And I jumped on his back and I took a photograph. So, but we had a good laugh about that. Anyway, but nobody commented on it. So I see you all took it well. Okay, so we're doing our dry ingredients. So oat flour is what I'm using for this. Again, you could just use whole wheat flour if you're not gluten-free. But what I did to make oat flour, I didn't buy an overpriced oat flour. All I did was I took the amount of oats flour I needed, which was 2 cups, and I grinded it up. I grinded it in my Vitamix until it makes like a flour. And if it's a little rustic, it's okay. So don't waste your money on oat flour. Literally, just make it yourself. It takes seconds, right? Again, you could just use whole wheat flour for this if you wanted to. So what we're going to add now is we're going to add another 1/2 cup. So that's 2 cups flour. And also this recipe is in the link down below in the description. So if I miss something or say it wrong, just double check there. I tend to babble my words every now and then. So to the regular flour, we're going to add another 1/2 cup of rolled oats. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. This is what's going to give it the rise, even though it's gluten-free. It's still going to have a nice volume to it. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then just a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. And you know what? I didn't write it in here because I'm a madman, but there it is. I always throw cinnamon into most of my baking, and I don't know what's not on here, but I'm going to throw in a very generous teaspoon of cinnamon into here. And now we whisk. Did I get it all? This is where I start to panic, and I ask myself, did I forget the salt or one of the leavening agents that is going to turn this into a gloppy, weird mess? Okay. And really, you want to mix this as best you can. Nothing's worse than getting that bite of baking soda. You know what I'm talking about? That disgusting burst of baking soda in a bite of banana bread. Okay. So, done. Now we're going to make our wet mixture. I got my food processor here. You could do this in a blender if you wanted to. I like the food processor because I find I get more of it out. My one complaint about Vitamix, even though I love it, is that I always feel like I lose some of it inside. It's hard to clean it out. Annie, you're being a little loud, my love.
Sorry.
That's okay. Apologizes for the child noises upstairs. Okay, so we're going to start off by blitzing up our bananas. Some people look at bananas like this and like, oh, those are nasty and they've gone bad. You can't use those. These are gold. These are great for smoothies. These are great for making ice cream, and these are perfect for baking. If another way you can swap out an egg is to just use a banana in baking, or oil. It'll take place of an oil as a binding agent too. You guys going outside?
Yeah.
Going through, that's fine. Do you need the key?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take, these are like 3, like pretty decently sized bananas. But if they're on the smaller size, maybe use 4. If they're really, really large, maybe you only need 2. That's about the amount of banana we're putting in. And all I'm going to do, this is life. Life happens around us while we're doing YouTube lives. Okay, so even though I love that. See, that to me is sugary sweetness. I'm not scared of a little brown banana. Okay, we're going to throw this in here. And then we're going to blitz this up really, really quick. If you're short a banana, if you're like, oh man, I only have 2 bananas, use some applesauce. Use some unsweetened applesauce. Or any, you could also use probably sweet potato puree would work. I mean, heck, you could probably throw in some berries. That'd be interesting. I haven't done that before, but I would try that. Okay, hands are a little goopy. Let's keep a towel right here for all my goops. And now we play the game of where did I put the lid? Right here. Okay, it's going to be loud for a second. I apologize. And all we're going to do, come on, is just pulse this until it's liquidy. Can I clear that banner off so you can see better, maybe? Yeah, that's better. So it's liquidy. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay. Right. And if it's a little lumpy, it's okay, because then you get some little chunkies of banana in there and everyone's happy. No one minds a little chunky of banana. Okay, now we're going to add all of our other wet ingredients. So we want so we got to add some fat in here, right? We're not putting oil in here and we're not putting butter in here. So we need a fat of some kind. My go-to in this is almond butter, because it's even though almond butter has a delicious taste when you just have it on its own, in baking, it's more of a neutral flavor. I find it blends in nicely with this, where I find peanut butter is really overpowering. If you wanted to make this school safe, you could use tahini or any other seed butter, but those can have a really strong flavor, although tahini not so much. But this is just going to be for home today, so I'm just going to do a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons, if you want to measure it that way, of almond butter, and I'm going to make my hand a giant mess. I'm not a fancy kitchen person. I'm very much a sloppy home cook. And I know most of you are too. So shout outs to that. Shout outs to making mistakes and figuring out stuff on the fly, right? Isn't that most of us in the kitchen? Just trying to get stuff done between a meeting and then kids coming home. And there's a little bit of almond butter, so that's a gift for me. A little protein. I want a little, there we go. So we're just going to plop that in with the banana mixture and get most of it off. Do our best here. A little bit more hanging out in there that we want to get to. Okay. I will get to any questions if you've asked questions. Oh, there's a whole bunch of comments waiting. I'm so happy you guys showed up and I'm not just baking by myself. Although I have a great time baking by myself too. Okay. Where's the rest of my wet stuff? So I'm gonna add in, what else? Just a little bit of sugar, not much. I'm gonna use maple syrup. If you have date paste, you can use that. This, it's still a sugar of some kind, but Maple syrup still has some of the nutrients intact. It's a little bit better than just using, your run-of-the-mill white sugar. In a pinch, I'd probably swap this out with coconut sugar if I was out of this. But we have an awesome maple syrup person out in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, and we buy like a big tub of it for not a ton of money, considering how much it usually costs. Okay, vanilla. I literally always just use the cap. It's about a teaspoon roughly, I find, most caps. And if it's a little bit more than that, that's fine too, because vanilla tastes awesome. And lastly, same thing with the apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is more like, the cap on this one is more like a tablespoon, and I just need a teaspoon. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Because if I try to pour a teaspoon from this, I'm going to spill it anyway. So I might as well just do it here. And I'll just fill it about a third of the way up. That'll do. Great. And mix that together. And now I go through my list and I make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, got it all. Now we blur it again. Whir it again. Oh! I did forget something. The flax egg. Was anyone shouting at me in the comments? I'll find out in a second. So let's see how it's thickened up a little bit. It's definitely kind of pasty, right? It's almost like a really, really runny nut butter itself. Okay, so luckily remember that the last second. Let's get that in there. All right, great. So while this is blitzing, I will rinse my hand real quick. Now this is the kitchen dance we do, the awkward, weird kitchen dance. That looks pretty good. Okay, the one thing I haven't done yet, so this is where some people might have some comments for me. Also, I apologize for the lighting here. I got to fix my setup for my kitchen when I do these kind of things. It's not pleasant. We do have a tip jar down in the description below. If you're liking this content on the channel and you want to help us upgrade our equipment, feel free to throw us a little tip of some kind. It's greatly appreciated. So I don't like to cook with oil. I don't like to use oil for anything in cooking if I can get away with it. But, and so for the longest time, I just used silicone baking sheets because you didn't need to grease them. You don't need to use parchment, all that kind of stuff. I don't love them for baking. I've kind of changed my tune on them recently. Sorry, I'm just, the filmmaker me needs to reframe my shot so I have less headroom. So I've gone back to the metal ones because things just bake better in them. It's the additional heat from the sides. It helps it hold the shape a bit better. So the only time you'll generally find me using oil, especially in baking, is just to put the smallest amount around the outside. And my wife made these reusable washcloths or paper towels. We use them for like serviettes. And I have this giant jug from Costco that this literally takes us like a decade to go through because this is the only kind of thing we use it for. I'm just going to literally run the smallest amount around just to help it to keep from sticking. And that is the only time I use oil. Just because I have other videos where I talk about it a lot. You can look at those, but to give you the Coles notes on my issues with oil it's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, a tablespoon of oil is 100 calories. And that's a slice of bread. That's 100 raspberries. That's a banana. That's like a good size apple. I just rather eat those things. This amount of oil I find is pretty minimal for how much it will add to the calories of the recipe compared to how little of a pain in the butt it'll be to clean it out later on. And it'll just come out nicely. So I'm going to be okay with it. All right. Put that aside. So now we just mix together our wet and our dry. It's the same as making a cake or making muffins or most baking, really. Always take out the part that will send you to the hospital. And now we're just going to mix it up. And because it's gluten-free, we don't necessarily have to worry about over-mixing it the way you do have to worry about with some batters, because they'll get gummy or something. But gluten-free isn't as much of an issue. But still, you don't necessarily want to over-mix it because that's just more work than we need to do. Okay, so at this stage, we're just going to mix it together. Don't mind there's a dog next door letting us know he's there. Okay, so while I mix this, let's see if there's any questions I can jump on through. Oh, thanks for the tip. Annoying but morally consistent. Okay, let me go back up and hit any of these comments I missed. Oh, daydreamer is stargazing. It's late wherever they are. Maybe they've already left us. But I mean, I hope you're enjoying. Oh, you're in Sweden. Yes. Well, I hope you're enjoying stargazing in Sweden. So if you only watch this later on, let us know that we sent you our love, and we appreciate you watching. We got Marla from Wisconsin. Holly from Sacramento. Hello. And it's hot in Morand. Where is Morand? Beth from Reno, Nevada. And Daydreamer again from Sweden said they always fail doing zucchini or banana bread. So this would be interesting. Oh, not after this. This is going to be your go-to. And you could make, I mean, so at this point, it's coming together pretty nicely. It's like a big, thick, gooey mixture, but that's okay. It's kind of what it's supposed to be. Again, we're going to upgrade our equipment at some point, and maybe I'll have an overhead camera when I do these lives. I always have the overhead when I do the other videos so you guys can see, but I realize in the lives that might be a bit more helpful if this becomes a regular thing. Okay, we'll come back to the comments in a second. Let's just jump back into this because we're pretty much done. At this point, you could put this in the pan. It'd be great. You would love it. Your entire family would hoist you on their shoulders and celebrate you for days. But I'm going to add some chocolate chips. They're non-dairy chocolate chips. You don't need to put these in if you want it to be a little bit healthier. You could also, at this point, add anything else you wanted to mix in. You could add in some raisins, although I don't think that's really a thing people do with banana bread. If it's something you do, let me know. You could also add in nuts. I don't, because my kids don't tend to like the texture of nuts in baking. I love it so much, but because I love them more, I don't do it. So I'm just going to put in an aggressive half a cup and then just stir it up all nice like so it's well distributed. Only takes a second. And then I'm just going to plop it in here. Let me reframe so you can get a better angle on that. How's that? There we go. And so we already lightly oiled this. And we're just going to pour it in so it's nicely layered around. So this will rise up to the point where it's like pouring over the top by the time it's done, even though it's gluten-free. And because it's just oat flour, you're not using any of those other flours that can kind of make things taste gluten-free-y. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. If you eat gluten-free things, some things taste, you're kind of surprised they're gluten-free, and other things are like, yeah, that's 100% gluten-free. Tastes just like gluten-free. Okay, let's just kind of spread this out a little bit, and then mind your ears for a second. I like to just give it a quick little smack. And then, again, you don't have to do this. I always like to sprinkle a couple more chocolate chips on top. Just so that if anyone gets a sad piece in the middle that doesn't have any, there's some here. And yeah. Oh no, that's fine. And then just bloop, bloop, push them down in. All right, what do you think? Think it's ready to go in? Okay, so now we're gonna bake this. Let me just double check what I wrote down for myself. Oh no, it's 40 to 45 minutes. I was looking at a different recipe. So it's 40 to 45 minutes is how long we bake this for. Which makes me think my website says it differently because I looked at that this morning. But this is the thing I referenced. So if that's the case, I'll update my website with the recipe down below because that can't be wrong. I'm adding one more for fun. So we're going to pop this in. I'm going to do it for 45 minutes because my oven is the kind of oven when you say 40 to 45 minutes, mine's the 45-minute variety. Great. And that will go off in the middle of a phone call I have to have around 3-ish. So that'll be fun. I'll get to interrupt and be like, hey, don't mind me. I'm just got to get a banana bread out of the oven because that's the kind of way I roll. All right. So now we have 45 minutes to chat. We don't quite have 45 minutes to chat. I've got to go in about 25 minutes from now. But let's see what damage we can get up to. So let's roll up and just check out some questions people have. Carrie is asking, can I use frozen bananas? Yeah, you just got to thaw them first. So put them in the microwave on the defrost setting, and just until they're not cooking, just until they're thawed out a little bit. And the only thing you have to keep in mind, I find, is when you thaw a banana after it's been frozen, is that you get some excess liquid with it. So you might have a slightly runnier batter. A couple things you can do if you have a batter that's a little bit runnier. Like the consistency of that batter, in case it wasn't clear, is kind of like a really loose oatmeal, if you know what I mean by that. So if it's a little bit runnier than it should be, you can just add some more flour, obviously. And then worst case scenario, you just bake it a little bit longer. It'll dry itself out inside the oven. Hello, Rose from Barry. Oh, Denise asked the same thing. Can you use defrosted bananas from the freezer? Yeah, just answered that. Hello, Janet. Got an OXO jar cleaning spatula to clean. Kind of a pain, but it works better than anything. Yeah, we have a couple different things. Like the skinny Vitamix we used to have, we got this gray thing that had like a scoop on it, and it was okay. We have the wide brim Vitamix now. It's this one. And they gave us these things to go with it that kind of scrape it out. My problem with this one is that unless you're making like a big volume of something, I find it doesn't grind up the way the narrower one did. Although that one was harder to clean, so neither was perfect. So I tend to use my food processor for most things that are thicker, except for maybe my cheese sauce, because I just don't think it gets it up fast enough. That said, someone was asking me about my cheese recipe and if I've ever tried to do it in the food processor. And the answer is no. Although I should give it a shot. I just worry it won't work. And then I guess I can always just transfer it over. But I'm just lazy. I don't want to clean 2 vessels. That's what it really comes down to. Some of my experimentation in the kitchen is limited by the time of day it is and how lazy I'm feeling. Can you swap the bananas with zucchini? Yes and no. You can swap part of them. Because the bananas are also acting as like a bit of a binding agent in this recipe. They're kind of taking the place of a little bit of fat as well, or the oil. So I would say you could probably swap out maybe half of the amount with zucchini. You'd probably still want a half of a cup of banana and then maybe 1 cup of zucchini. So you could turn this into a zucchini bread recipe pretty quickly. And then you might also want to change out the spices if you do that. Like I'd probably throw in some nutmeg and maybe a little bit of clove or something. It depends on how you like your spices in your loaves. And then also I'd probably put in some lemon zest if I was doing a zucchini bread, because lemon zest in baking is delicious too. I haven't tried it in a banana bread. I don't know if that would be weird. Holly says, when I'm short on banana, I puree the peel and add it. Wow. There's going to be people down in the comments that say things about using a non-organic peel. That would be my concern about using the peel, is if it's a non-organic banana. Just it's terrifying what can be in some of those peels. So that's why I haven't tried making that banana bacon people have made and talked about, because I'm terrified of what's in those peels, because they soak so much. But I don't tend to buy. We do buy organic produce, but I don't tend to buy anything that's organic where I'm taking the peel off and I'm not eating the peel. Just because we can't afford to buy everything organic, and that's kind of where the distinction lies. If it's a removable peel, we'll sometimes not get organic. But that's an awesome hack to just use the banana peel. Does it make it more bitter, I wonder? I'm so curious. I put it in hot water, drop a dishwashing liquid, run it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, most of the time, Vitamixes are self-cleaning, so you can do that. But you know what I'm talking about. If you've made my cheese sauce, you know that a drop of water and a drop of soap and hot water is not going to do that alone. You need to do that multiple times if you're going to do it. It's worth it though, but it does take a beat. But most things you can do that. I find if I'm just making a smoothie, I don't even necessarily need to do that. I can just rinse all the liquid out. I probably should clean it more efficiently than that, but sometimes, again, lazy sometimes. Carrie also says they're a messy cook. Oh, left a spoon in the blend tech. I've got a couple of spatulas in this kitchen that have fallen to the mercy of the Vitamix and me trying to scrape down the sides while it's running and realizing that's not a thing I should be able to do. That's what I like about the food processor. It's smart enough to know that it should be designed so when the lid is off, it's not running. They didn't do that with the Vitamix. It's some dangerous things could happen if you're not being safe around a Vitamix. Did the blend tech run after that? Or what won? Did the spoon win or did the blend tech win? Cast your votes down below. 45 seconds each. Yeah, just to make sure you don't cook the banana when you do that. What's a good recommendation for cocoa powder? I'm not sure what you're asking, Allison. Are you asking what's a good recommendation for a swap for cocoa powder, or what kind of cocoa powder? I honestly, I just buy cocoa powder. I know there's like the alkaline free versions and whatnot. And I think most of them are that way now, but although I'm sure someone down below will let me know very quickly that I'm wrong. I mean, cocoa powder is, it doesn't have sugar involved with it. So it's a healthy enough cocoa powder. Would I put cocoa powder in my banana bread? That sounds awesome. I haven't. And if you want to add cocoa powder to it, then what I would just do is remove the equivalent amount of flour, just so that you still have the right wet to dry ratio. Would be the only trick there. Real world whole food plant-based oil is sensible. I think that Janet's give me a thumbs up on using it to line my pan. Oh, Lori's late. That's okay, Lori. We started late and I cooked slow, so hopefully that helped out. Oh, I like this. Holly, adding fresh cranberries to your banana bread. I just thought about adding berries the other day to it. I've never done that. I'm sure you get the same way. You make the same thing over and over again. And even though you could experiment, you don't, because you just want that delicious, amazing thing you just remember. That's a great tip. Allison, thank you so much for the tip. That's lovely of you. I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you're late, that we do have a tip jar down below that we are trying to upgrade some of the equipment so that my lives here in the kitchen, if I start doing these on a more regular basis, I can kind of maybe set up a camera and you can see more stuff. So if you're enjoying the content and you want to give us a tip, that's super lovely and we'd be very grateful. Oh, Farley from Quebec, welcome, fellow Canadian. You've lost 100 pounds on a 7.5 frame. You are a huge person, and 100 pounds that's a child. or 2 children, depending on the age of the child. Yeah, I remember I lost, so for those that aren't familiar with my story, I lost roughly 160 pounds, half my body weight when I lost the bulk of my weight. And it was interesting. I remember when I lost the first 25, I was at our gym and I picked up a 25-pound weight and I was like, holy cow, this is insane. How that I was carrying around this much extra. And then when I lost 100 pounds, both my children were still young at that point, and together they weighed about 100 pounds. And I picked them both up and piggyback. I had one on my front, one on my back, and walked up the stairs with them safely. I was fine. And I was just shocked. And I'm like, I used to just go up and down these stairs like this. Amazing. Here's a fun thing. I wasn't necessarily going to mention this, but it'll be in an upcoming video this weekend. We have a sponsor for this weekend's video, which is very exciting. It's our tacos for a day video that you all voted on, what my family would eat for a day. And we have this company that's sponsoring it called Fit Track. And what they do is it's like an app. It's called Hume, but it's also a scale that works like a DEXA scan, and it measures your body fat and all those kind of things. And it's really good for someone like me who has lost a lot of weight and carries excess skin. And so it's hard to tell if some of that extra weight on the scale is healthy or not, because this is measuring all the other things and letting me know it's counting my organs and excess skins and not counting it towards my usual measurements. Anyway, I have a discount code, and I'm going to put it in the description of this video too, where you can get 20% off of that scale plus the app. So if you want to take advantage of that, the code is PB with J, all one word. So take advantage of that. That's exclusive for you wonderful people. Okay, Janet, don't mind me as where'd my water go? Right there. Have you tried whipping aquafaba to fold into the batter? Oh, yeah. I mentioned, thanks, Janet. I didn't mention that earlier, but aquafaba is another thing that you could use to swap out the oil. And aquafaba, for those that don't know, is the juice that's left over in the can of chickpeas. Or if you cook your own chickpeas on the stove from dry, you can just save that liquid. You might need to boil it down a bit more. It needs to be kind of a more gelatiny thick. I wouldn't blend it first, though. I'd probably just fold it right in and then mix it around. I only whip aquafaba if I'm making like a whipped cream out of it. Otherwise, I don't tend to whip it before I use it in baking. Maybe I should, but I don't. Again, probably because I'm lazy. Ooh, sponge cake for aquafaba. That's a killer idea. Hey, Sam from England. A low-fat banana that was incredibly heavy. A low-fat banana bread that was incredibly heavy. That's an oxymoron. What made it heavy, I wonder? Let me know down below. A restaurant near me used to add pineapple to their banana bread. Oh, well, then it's pineapple banana bread. That wouldn't be bad, though. I would eat that. Here's the only danger when you add fruit to baking, and I'm sure most of you know this, especially pineapple, is it's hecka liquidy, that pineapple. So you're going to get a moister bake for baking. It's not going to hurt you, especially if you know that it's plant-based and there's nothing in there that's going to harm you. You don't have to worry about that, right? So just be wary of that. And that's the other. And if you're going to bake with fruit, try to go with fresh fruit because it's leaching less liquid. That's always the problem if you're trying to put in if I was to put berries in that banana bread, for example, I would use fresh berries because frozen berries just really add a lot of liquid. And it kind of makes it weird and gross, and it's still going to be delicious, but it's just going to give it a real weird texture, especially if you're working with gluten-free. I would recommend not. Where else? Where are we? Sorry, this all scrolled it down. I lost where I was. I'm just loving all these comments. Thank you, everyone, for watching and hanging out. Everything is better with chocolate chips. Yes, Mary Jo, 100%. Welcome, Gloria from Chilliwack. And don't worry, Hibby, we won't tell anyone you like healthy food. Here's the trick to healthy food. If you make it tasty, it's okay. Everyone likes healthy food if it tastes good, right? Yeah, and you use the organic, but it's bitter, so why? I tried the banana peel shredded meat and it was gross. I mean, if you flavor it enough, I'm sure anything tastes better, right? Once blended dates with a pit left, I felt like, oh yeah. If you have a pitted date in your blender, it lets you know real fast. As my friend Maddie would say, be nice to your blender. You murdered a wooden spoon of mine. That's the worst part, is because part of your brain is thinking, this is still edible. I don't have to throw out this whole batch. You know, a little wooden splinter is not going to kill anyone in this dessert probably. But you break off a hunk of metal in there, that's you got to throw that batch out, unfortunately. Holly says they find it. So Holly says in terms of using the banana peel in mix in lieu of another banana, it's not so bad. I sort of don't want to take you up on that, but one day I might have to. One day I might have to. Oh, the blend tag is still going strong. The blade's just a little chewed up. That the spoon was unusable. So, blend tech 1, spoon 0. Oh, and we got some answers on this cocoa. So the best cocoa is undutched. It's healthier because it doesn't alter the flavonoids. Flavonoids, I think is what you mean. Is that a typo? Or flavonols? I think that's a word too. I think they're both words and it mean different things. And I'm just getting word diarrhea. Hi, Kathy. Kathy comments a lot on the videos. I always love your comments, Kathy. I know you make oatmeal in the Instant Pot. Do you have any other favorite recipes using the Instant Pot? I use my Instant Pot so much. I debate sometimes getting a second one, just so I can do more things in it at once. I'm using that thing at least once a day because we buy all of our beans dry. So if I'm using beans in a recipe, I usually just make them the morning of, so they're fresh and they're not sitting around. So I'll usually use it for that. And then my taco soup recipe, which is on my website, is one of our family's favorites. So we make that in the Instant Pot. Oatmeal for sure, like you just said. My wife makes a crumble, like a crisp, like an apple crisp or crumble in the Instant Pot. I just made yogurt in it last night, which is draining in the fridge. Not with draining, it's getting the liquid out of it, because that's the one thing I find is making the yogurt in the Instant Pot is it's still pretty liquidy after that 12 hours. So it's got to sit in the fridge for about another 12 hours to just get rid of that excess liquid. But then it's delicious. What else do I do in the Instant Pot? So many things. I use it a lot. And in grains, particularly like rice or quinoa, it's just perfect because it makes them flawless every single time. It just takes like the human error out of it for the most part. I'm going to be doing, I know a lot of you requested it that watch the recipe review videos. I'm going to be doing the vegan Instant Pot cookbook very soon. I think we're going to start shooting it next. Right now we're shooting, where is it? This is your preview for those that join. This is the cookbook I'm working from right now. So we're currently reviewing this. And what's fun about this is we're actually putting this 15 minutes to the test and seeing if we can actually make the meals in 15 minutes. Because that's one of my biggest complaints about all cookbooks. And I'm sure if I ever make a cookbook, I will do the same thing, where the time estimates are always wrong. I think the time estimates are if you've made this meal 5 times and don't need to continually reference the recipe. That's how fast you can make it. So that's the one we're working on right now, and that'll be up in a while. I'm a couple of videos ahead. There's another one that's coming up. I think the one next weekend is plant-based Buddha, or the Buddhist plant-based, something like that, in around there. I'm just getting ready to start editing that one. Carlina, is new to the channel, and they arrived. Wait, can you watch the video when it's over? You sure can. Yeah, this will be up for all time. Okay. So we're starting to wrap up. Oh, I'm not even getting close to going through all the comments. I'm so sorry. I got about another 5-10 minutes before I got to take off. So, and where's our banana bread at? 27 minutes around. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll post it. How about I post a photo to the community board? I'll let you all know how it turned out, and I'll put it on Instagram as well. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I think it's PB with Jeremy on Instagram, because I think PB with J might have been taken, but anyway, you'll recognize it because my logo and stuff are there. All right, let's see any other questions we got in here. Yes, Farley was saying, I think you're referring to this recipe, the banana bread. Yeah, it's also SOS free. There's salt in it though. I did put a little bit of salt in there. I think one of those S's is salt. It's hard to do baking without salt. You need a little bit to make it rise. You used whole wheat flour and applesauce. Not sure if you used enough of the correct rising agent. It was like a brick. Yeah. If you're, it's really baking powder is your best friend. Is like you want more baking powder than baking soda, and sometimes you don't even need the baking soda. Baking powder is what's going to make it rise more, I find, especially in gluten-free baking. Yeah, you probably needed more applesauce. Yeah, what the consistency of this banana bread? It's interesting. It's pretty. I don't want to say it's folly party, but it's kind of crumbly, but in a way that I really, really like. You need to let it cool. I like to let it cool inside the pan for as long as possible, and it just holds its shape. But realistically speaking, my family's going to dive into this thing as soon as they get home tonight. They're going to smell it. My wife will come in there. Wooly will come in the door and be like, "Woo!" That's the first thing I'll hear is an excited Wooly sound. As she smells the banana bread. Kathy wants to know how long my cheese sauce lasts in the fridge. You know what? We've never discovered the answer to that because we always eat it too fast. The only, I would say, have we ever left it longer than it was good? We've left it at least a week, and it's been fine. A little bit of water, it will kind of pool some water on top after a couple of days. You just mix it back in, and it gets thicker. So this is the cheese sauce. It's in like that really long video I did. That's like everything you need, plant-based recipes. And it's also in a grilled cheese video I did somewhere along the line. But it starts off as like a cheese sauce. And then what's great about that cheese is like you put it in the fridge and it thickens a little bit. So it turns into a nice spread. But if you freeze it, if you have like, we have these great silicon muffin cups. So we freeze it in that, and then we can pop them right out. So if you have anything like that, freeze them in like half a cup increments, because then you can grate them and they'll look like Daiya cheese, like that shredded Daiya cheese. And it works pretty well as a grated cheese. So it's like it's an all-in-one cheese sauce. It's the only cheese sauce we make anymore because it does so many things. We love it. See, another 2 Instant Pots. I feel you. Yeah, that's my biggest fear is whenever I have to make rice and my Instant Pot is being used for something. Yes, doing a video right now, not right now, but shortly on the Instant Pot cookbook. That's coming up very, very shortly. Yes. No, I don't have a slow cooker, Janet. Thanks for asking. Just the Instant Pot. And I know from the Instant Pot cookbook review or the slow cooker cookbook review I did, and all the wonderful comments about, well, this is why they failed. You used an Instant Pot. I'm aware. I know. I'm just not going to buy a slow cooker these days. I just love my Instant Pot too much. And they take up a heck of a lot of space. And if I bring in one more kitchen tool into this house, my wife will have unpleasant words with me. How long does the yogurt last? Again, we haven't discovered the answer to that question because we eat it too fast. I'm glad you ordered the Plant Pure Comfort book. It's really, really lovely. Kim, who wrote that book, saw the video and left a lovely comment in the thread of that video, which made me so happy. So I don't know. I'd say it lasts probably at least a week or two in the fridge before it goes bad. I mean, it's also, there's no animal products, so it's not going to go bad in the traditional sense. Like the worst that's going to happen is it just is kind of gross. It's probably not going to hurt you that much. That said, I'm not a doctor, so do not come back and sue me if someone eats bad plant-based yogurt. The only thing you have to make sure if you're getting into a cycle of making your own yogurt, it's similar to anything where you need a starter. So just like sourdough, you got to keep a little bit of it, right? So what I started doing as soon as I'm done this batch, I'll probably peel off like 1/3 to 1/2 of a cup into a separate Tupperware container in the fridge and just leave it off to the side. So I always have some for the next batch and we don't accidentally eat it all. Sam Turnbull's, yes, love Sam stuff. I actually think Sam's my neighbor. I've never officially seen her out and about, but I know she lives in the same neighborhood I do in Toronto. And I kind of want to stalk her, but I know I shouldn't. But I think she's awesome. I love her website. It doesn't taste like chicken for those that aren't familiar with Sam Turnbull. But yes, her stuff I definitely have to alter. So I definitely will get around to one of her cookbooks or just taking stuff straight off her website at some point and do it on the video. Annie's back. See? Annie made the sound that I told you Wooly makes when she smells banana bread.
No, chocolate chips.
Oh, she just came in. Did you literally just come in to steal a chocolate chip?
No, I came in here for.
You don't even remember.
No,
Gone. And she's off.
Hi.
Okay.
I came here for.
Okay, but I gotta wrap this up in a minute. And I got questions to answer.
What did I come here for?
You gotta figure this out in your own time, kid. The people are asking questions. So yeah, I'm gonna get to Sam's books at some point. Oh, I haven't seen those. I love the Happy Pear people. So I gotta check out their 5-minute videos. Okay. Do I have a great recipe?
How many people are watching?
Right now, 64 people. Isn't that amazing?
Hi, 64 people.
Yeah. Mary,
Wait, is Denise still on?
is Denise still on? I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, Denise. If you're still on. So Mary, do I have a great recipe for zucchini bread? Other than the one I just made up on the fly while we were talking about this, I do think I have a zucchini bread recipe on my website. Oh, Holly says hi. Holly says she loves my daughter.
Hi, Holly.
You're chewing again.
Hi.
See,
What's
Annie
that?
always
How do you
talks with her
pronounce
mouth.
that name?
What's that?
How do you pronounce that name?
Tanya.
Something like that. Hi.
I see. I'm used to Tanya with a Y, so I apologize if I say your name wrong. Oh, Denise is still on.
Hi, Denise.
She has an aunt named Denise, so she's very excited.
I saw someone named Diana.
Okay. Well, I got to wrap this up though, Annie. Sam just upgraded to a second Instant Pot. Yeah, so I do have a zucchini bread recipe on my website, I think.
I remember what I was looking for.
And if I do after this, I'll try to put it in the description below. So if you're watching this after, it should be there now. Do I use a dehydrator? I do. I use a dehydrator. The kids use it more than I do because they love to dry fruit. I use it I make my own kombucha. So the SCOBY, whenever I have to peel it off, I'll soak the SCOBY in like some maple syrup and some fruit juice. And then I'll dehydrate that and we'll make SCOBY gummies out of it. So that's what I use it for the most, but it gets some use from the kids too. Or anywhere, and then they'll want to make like fruit leather or something and experiment. Hello, Gina from Charleston. I think you had a question too. Oh yeah, plantains. They do sell plantains in the grocery store here. I haven't done a lot with them though. So that's something I definitely have to play with more. But thanks for sharing that. What was that suggestion you said? Bake ripe and eat them with chunky peanut butter. Plantain, yeah. Why? You got a plantain recipe, Annie? You probably haven't had them cooked properly, Annie. Okay. All love to our family friend Suki. I wouldn't trust hers to be the end-all be-all plantain recipe. I'm gonna go with Gina. We're gonna hook up later on, Gina. You're gonna send me some plantain recipes, and I'm gonna try it out because I just got to get up in the plantain business. Okay. Sadly, and he's skipping through the house. Okay, I would love to do this longer. This was great. I'm so happy with how many people showed up and all the love and the questions. So I definitely will try to do this on a more regular basis. Let me know in the comments below what kind of recipes you'd like to see me do on here. I can do baking. I could even maybe make dinner one night with everyone hanging out. That could be fun to do. Pick up limes is great. Yes, I agree. I didn't swear, did I, Sarah? I think I didn't swear. I think I've been real good about not swearing anymore because I know a lot of you don't like the swearing. A kombucha video. I have a kombucha video on. Bye, Annie. A kombucha video on the channel somewhere from a couple of years back where I took you through my whole process of making kombucha. So check that out. And if that's not suffice, maybe I'll do another one. I am going to do very soon. I'm working with another sponsor on like gut health. So I'm going to do a video shortly about a day in the life of like eating gut healthy foods. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, we're just a whole bunch of crazy people here. Oh, Holly loves it when I swear. Yeah, I like it when I swear too sometimes. But there are some people like Sarah who are watching with their kiddos, and I got to be respectful of that too. So, every now and then we slip up, but I'll beep it. I'm going to add some funny sounds moving forward. I just put like a sensor beep in there, but I think I'm going to find some fun sounds put in there instead of the swears. So it'll still make you laugh and chuckle. All right. I got to go. Cheese socks worse at high speed, 5 minutes in the Vitamix. Now I'm just reading random stuff. Okay. This is lovely. I got to go. I love all of you. This is amazing. I'm sorry I couldn't finish the banana bread. It's got 15 minutes, but I have to jump on a call shortly. But this was lovely, and I look forward to doing this again with all of you. And for those of you that are just joining us or watching this after the fact, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment, and if you're feeling generous, hit us up in that tip jar so we can kind of upgrade our equipment and make these lives even better. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll try to put all the recipes that I mentioned in this live stream down below if I remember them all in the description, but it might take me a little while to update them if you're just watching this the same day, but I'll get to it shortly. Bye everyone. And now I awkwardly turned it off after I already did a goodbye. See ya.